In this video, I'm going to share some essential life lessons that I wish school had taught me. This is not just about money, but this is also things that I just wish I had known sooner. I'm 29 now, so I mean I've still got a lot of time ahead, but had I been taught some of these in school, then maybe I'd be a bit further ahead. So if you're in school right now, then this is definitely for you, because I'm literally talking to myself as a younger person, and I just wish that someone had said this to me. So let's get into it. I'm going to just reel through them and let's see which you resonate with. First thing is, if someone looks rich, it's more likely that they're not. Really wealthy people and people that know how to manage their money do not do the big outward signs of wealth for the most part. Some people do, but mostly people that are driving around in Lamborghinis and showing off all of their jewelry and fancy watches and whatever are usually the people that don't have a lot of real wealth behind them. Because once people start making a lot of money, they understand that that money could be used to make more money for them. So they start investing it and putting it in assets instead. I mean, look at there's a photo of Jay-Z from when he first started out compared to later, and people say like, notice the difference. I think originally he's got all of this gold jewelry on, and then later on he's just wearing a black t-shirt. You know, like, yeah, I mean, that's just a fun example, but the point is, why waste all your money on that when you can be putting it to work for you instead? The next thing is, you don't need a lot of money to start making your money work for you. I think what a lot of people think when they're younger is that you need a big amount to start investing, and you can't even buy stocks and shares unless you have thousands to put in. Well, it's not true. You can start with as little as 50 a month and start averaging in. And if you do that at the right time, and you consistently do that over your lifetime, it won't actually matter what the right time is. But if you consistently do that and keep averaging in, even with small amounts, it will add up over the long run. You don't need a lot of money to begin investing, and you do not need a lot of money to start making your money work for you. I think that's a common misconception that I definitely wasn't taught in school, and I think that's maybe what a lot of people think when they're young, is that to actually start making money, you need a lot of money. You don't, you just need priorities. Which brings me to the next one, pay yourself first. You mean, like, some people might be saying, okay, that's great, but I don't have 50 quid at the end of the month to put aside each month. I don't have £200 at the end of the month to put aside. Well, flip that around then. You do have 50 quid at the beginning of the month once you've been paid. You do have that 200 quid as soon as you've been paid, because it's there. So if you pay yourself first and you dollar cost average or pound cost average that first and pay and start investing with that before you pay the bills and before you do everything else, then you definitely are going to find a way to pay the bills, and you're going to find a way to still enjoy your lifestyle with the money you have left over. So if you just flip it and start pound cost averaging in before everything else, as soon as you get paid, then you will find a way to make the rest of the money work. Pay yourself first and pay your future self before you pay everyone else. Which brings me nicely to the power of compound interest. I've done a whole other video on this, I'll link it above, go check that out. But in brief, the idea is that if you can consistently average in and you can keep paying £50, £100, and then you're also making interest on top of that, whatever that is, even if it's 5% interest per year, then that will compound over the long run, and you really see some amazing benefits from it. I think if there's one thing you take away from this, just go and search for a compound interest calculator, put in the age you are right now, and figure out what will happen if you put £50 per month into a compound interest calculator with 5 to 10%. See what happens in 20, 30 years. And then I guarantee you'll start doing it. And that brings me to as well, like, if you're paying yourself first and you're going to start putting money away, you're going to start thinking, how else can I cut down on the things I'm spending on so I can put more money away to make my money work for me? The best way you can do that is by cutting down on expenses. I think a lot of what you do when you're younger, you just spend on unnecessary things and subscriptions and stuff that you really don't need. But if you can cut down on that, then you can actually have a better lifestyle. A lot of these expenses you don't need, and it's just all it's unimportant. So if you can cut out the unimportant expenses, then you can make your money work for you even more. And in line with this, I want to say that there's two parts to this. So firstly, you need to avoid unnecessary debt. Don't get into debt and then start paying interest off of that debt with maxing out your credit cards, and then you don't pay off that credit card and you keep getting charged interest on top, because that just also is going to compound and you're going to be paying back more than you originally borrowed, and it's just not a good cycle to get into. That being said, I would also say to my younger self that credit cards are okay. There's great benefits of credit cards, and I avoided them like the plague when I was young, but then I could have been earning points. I could have been getting the benefits of credit cards. I could have been building up a better credit score. So credit cards are okay as long as you pay them off each month. And there's actually some great benefits to credit cards as well, like you can get a percentage cash back when you use it. You can use them to get air miles and points that will give you free flights. And the earlier you start doing that, the better. Just make sure that you always pay it off so you're not getting charged interest on that. The next one is a big one this day and age. Avoid putting your trust in fake gurus. Anyone that says that something is very easy and all you have to do is pay them and it's all going to be solved is lying. There are more than enough free resources out there to learn from. YouTube's great. Go and search around. You can find all the information you want. It is freely out there. Of course, some people will compile that into courses and into training, which also have their benefits. But the idea of just paying someone and they're going to solve all your problems is complete BS. There are lots of people that just make their money out of this promise, and they are the fake gurus, the ones that are only successful by telling people how to be successful. Avoid those people and look at people that have already done it, the people that have made their money and spent years making money, years building up a business, and now they want to give back and now they want to share their experience. So those are the people that you should listen to. There's a big realization that I had in my 20s. I'm still 29, I'm not 30 yet, but let's say there's a big realization that I had in my 20s, which is that most people are still just figuring it out. Even someone that looks like they have all the answers, even that someone that you aspire to be like and they look like they've got everything figured out, trust me, they don't. They're still figuring out as they go. We're all fumbling around in the dark, like trying to figure out how this life thing works, how money works, and they're just a bit further ahead than you. So don't let that stop you. I think the idea sometimes that someone has it all so much better figured out than you do can sometimes hold people back, but it's just not true. They're just giving that image. They're still figuring out. Trust me, they do not have all the answers. No one does. But you can learn from people that have been doing it longer and have documented their experience of doing it longer for you. The best way of doing this is just by reading books. If someone that has taken the last 20, 30 years, 40 years to build up their business and empire, and then decided to be generous enough to write a book of how they did it, well, it would be rude not to read that. There's honestly, some of my most transformative experiences have been reading some of these books that have literally changed my life. And I don't think it's over the top to say that. A few of them I would recommend straight off the top of my head would be a classic, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, The Richest Man in Babylon, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and The Art of Resistance. Oh, sorry, not The Art of Resistance. The War of Art, which is about resistance by Stephen Pressfield. Just go check them out. That's a great starter reading list. But if you want to learn rather than from fake gurus, and if you want to learn from real people that have been there and done it, then start with those. And again, away from fake gurus, find the right mentors. You will naturally gravitate towards people that you want to learn from and idolize if you want to be successful, but make sure they're the right people answering the right questions. Don't be led by fake gurus, and try and always think, is this person, has this person got my best interests in mind, or are they just trying to make money off me? And you can also do this with the people you associate with and the people you work with. They say that you're a sum of the 6 closest people to you. So if you can elevate yourself by elevating your circle, and I know that sounds a little bit shallow, but if you can learn off, you're going to learn off the people that are closest to you. So if you're learning off people that are in the position that you want to be in, well, then you'll eventually get there. You will be the sum of those 6 people. So just try and learn off the right people. Don't follow fake gurus. Instead, try and learn off people that have been there and done it. And how can you do that? The best way, in my opinion, is to give freely, expecting nothing in return. Offer your services to someone and go and say like, hey, I'll just come and do this for you. I really want to help you. Without trying to make it into a barter, without being like, if you do this for me. You know, if you just help someone and you give them something and you actively do it because you just want to help, then that will get returned to you in the future in kind. And I really believe this. This is what I 100% believe it. I don't know how to say it better than that. If you just do something for someone without expecting them to come back and return the favor, invariably they will, but you also just feel way better for it. Don't see people as transactions, and don't see every relationship as transactional. Just do something for someone, make that introduction, help them out, and then the karma will work for you in the long term. And lastly, but most importantly, is have gratitude for everything. I think a lot of people feel that they're owed more, and people, especially these days, and I hate to sound like an old person saying this, that people feel entitled and they feel like the world owes them something. Well, they don't. If you're in a position to feel entitled, then you should instead feel grateful, because you are one of the most lucky people in the world to feel that entitlement. If you're in the position to start making your money work for you, and if you're in the position to be thinking about how can I invest and make more money for myself, then you're already in the top 1% of the world wealth-wise. Just have gratitude for that, and the fact that we have these freedoms and the ability to do this, and the internet, and the ability to have this video and this conversation with you through a screen like this, that is no small thing, and that is something you should be grateful for. And if you have gratitude for the rest of your life, then everything will fall into place. And again, I really believe that. Now, these are things that I wasn't taught in school. I've been lucky enough to have good mentors, and I've been lucky enough to learn these things outside of school, but these are things that I think are hugely important. So that's it for this video. I hope that helps. Let me know if I missed anything below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And again, I'll see you in the next one.